Hello everyone, welcome to another theme workshop. My name's Brian. You might know me as Farron over on the community forums. This is the theme workshop. So this is the place where you can come by and we can hang out, talk about any kind of theming in LaunchBox themes, big box themes, startup and shutdown themes, pause themes. Everything's open game. If you have any questions about any of that, let me know. Hey, everybody in the chat, thank you for joining so quickly when I hit the live button. Ernesto, Hidden, Bast, Daytona, Darshi, Dave, how you doing? Thank you everyone for joining. If you're watching this after the fact and you have a question about theming your own theme or modifying some other theme in LaunchBox, you can just I believe you can leave a comment on this video after the fact, or you can just send me a message on the forums and I will try to address it during the next live stream. So far they've been happening, it's only the second one, they've only been happening Thursdays around this time, basically after lunch my time, EST. So hopefully everybody's doing great today. Windows made their big announcement this morning, I guess. Windows 11 is coming, and they splashed a coat of paint over that, and so that's basically what we're going to try to do today for another big box theme. So I do have a couple things that I do want to go through, as I did get a question after the theme or after the stream last week about marquee views and what we can sort of do there. So I'll go through marquees if anybody's interested and you have any questions about marquees. Today might be a good day. After that, I do have a theme lined up that I kind of been wanting to tackle, and really I've been wanting to tackle on this sort of live stream because it introduces the ability for me to cover a bunch of topics that otherwise I wouldn't be able to cover, and teach you guys the ins and outs of what I guess, Dave, you called color conditioning, which is amazing. Once I get to it, you guys will understand what that means. And I will apply it in a way that you can apply it anywhere. Hey, Neil. Hopefully you're doing, color conditioning. And we will talk about that in a theme today, and we'll go through it. But yeah, let's get started. Hopefully you guys are ready to go. I have nothing open right now. Hello, Lori. Hope you're doing good. I am going to, let's talk about marquees. Big Box has an implementation of marquees, and within that, it basically creates a file. We have a marquee view file that comes with the default theme, and I would say a good percentage of people use that file when you turn on marquees. But what you can actually do is you can take that file and you can modify it similar to how you could modify other views. It does have some restrictions, and I will go through them, but for the most part, if you just wanted to put in some more images, change it up, do whatever you need to do with it, with text, you can add text to it, you can do that. And so I'll just sort of go through a little bit of what is possible. If you're wanting to look at, and I'll do it here before I jump into the community theme creator, let's take a look. Alright, so I'm going to actually the file system here. So views, you can see all these files. Every single file represents something that will display in Big Box. And all you really have to do is find the one, I guess there's two files. One for game marquee view, which is here, and then one for, I believe, platform marquee view. So obviously one's for platform views, one's for the game view. So let's take a look at what this actually looks like, because I don't think it's very large. That's the whole view. It's like not even a quarter of the screen here. Basically all it is is one image, and the image is right here, and it basically just says, hey, for the selected game that you're on, display the marquee image. And the way the marquee image works is, and I don't think that we can alter this right now, but it has a list of priorities built into the backend. So if you don't have a marquee, it will try to display something else, like the box art for a game, and it'll just keep going down the list like that. And eventually, you will it'll find an image, hopefully, to display onto your marquee screen. So that's the gist of that. It's that simple. Now, surrounding that is just a grid, and that's it. The rest of this is just all of the dependencies and all that stuff, libraries at the top, the size, but nothing really to it here, to be honest. Now let's take a look at what you can do, because you could sit there and you could add more images, more text to that view, which I might do in a future video. But for today, and I'm realizing that here it is, the community theme creator, I can actually show you certain things on what's possible. In saying that, how many of you guys actually use a marquee screen? Or wish you could use a marquee screen? All right, let me just use this. Hey, Rob. Yes, you have a marquee screen. Let me just show. I mean, right here, when you click this button here, which is just where the text is, it will show up a list of everything that I just showed you in the file system. Oh, Neil, you wish you had one? Me too. I do have a screen that I will use, but it's not in the marquee format. Those screens tend to be pretty expensive, don't they? Like if you wanted one already cut or sized, you're talking almost the price of a big, nice computer monitor to get a decent one. It's like, which one do I get? Like a G-Sync, nice IPS gaming monitor, or a small marquee screen? I guess it depends on what you want, right? Oh, no, you use a giant 27-inch monitor. That's awesome. So I do have a small 19-inch monitor from a very long time ago that I have here that I do use for it. But it's not, I don't have a cabinet, which would have been nice. Okay, so you see all of these things. Two of them are what we want. You see the platform marquee view, and you also see the game marquee view. So I'll focus on the game one, because I guess that's really the most creative. A lot of people, what they do, I guess before this, here's something that, before we get into the theming. Oh, and Pandemonium. The layout has changed, but things are generally in the same spot, and they do this generally the same thing. Now the build, before I get going here, two things to note. The build I'm using is a beta build still, just like last week. It's not out yet to the public. I am just helping Dave test it, and this build has a ton of changes to the one on the forums, like a ton. So even though I say like the functionality of this is the same, a lot of stuff has changed. And like you still see the selected aspect ratios, but you have more of them that you can choose. We have 3 buttons here, which I won't go over. I'm sure Dave will in one of his videos on YouTube. But and this side you can make go away, bring back, which is obviously great if you're going to do a vertical theme and you're building it on a vertical monitor, because yeah, you would really have very little room to really see what you're doing. And then this is basically the same, except it does pop up like that so that you can see more of the games here that you want. So it's actually quite nice. It's sort of like, I mean, you basically could say it's 2.0. Why don't you just jump the number, Dave? Just, this is version 2. Okay, so before getting into the actual file, what I found people were doing before like editing code was they were just building images. People were just putting maybe like actions in Photoshop, and they were building images per the size of their monitor. And they were releasing image packs of these marquees, and you can find them throughout the internet. Like, people put together some sort of layout, and then they release the file, all those files, and you can put them into your marquee folders in LaunchBox, and they'll work. They'll work great if you have a monitor of that same size. And what you can actually do, because that is an option that you can do using the theme creator right now, even the one on the forums. If you click, which one? It's this custom image button. Oh, I did it. And so you can come here and you can say, okay, let's say I wanted to create a game one. So you can see I could have lots of different profiles here. So let me create a game one, and I want to create one for like one of my favorite systems, Nintendo Entertainment System. And if I said I have a screen of a particular size, so I'll go in here and I'll say, okay, my screen is, let's say, I don't know, what size is your screen, Rob? What's your pixels on that thing? Is it a 1080p? Oh, it's a 2160 by 2160. Okay, that's kind of crazy. That's pretty crazy. Let's say you had a screen that was, I feel like a lot of them are really tiny. Actually, let me just do 1920. I can't do anything bigger than that. 4K in portrait mode. That's really cool. And some people buy screens that are like really small, like 384 or something. That looks like way too tiny, actually. Let's just do 450 as an example here. 550. Look at that. So you can see that the theme creator has drawn my canvas, and I can basically say, here's all the elements that I want. So let me say I want a bunch of images, let's say. So I can say down here, what would we want? Clear logo. Here's a game clear logo. Let's do a box art. Box front. Let's make it go to the side there. Now we'll just do this quickly. And just so that I can show what is actually possible, I'll do some metadata. Maybe which title do we want? One of these ones. This will tell us what system it is, or playlist. I think it might do playlist. More importantly though, I feel like you'd want to know what platform it's from. I can make this look really cool. So if I wanted to choose any font that I wanted, something really bold, here's something crazy, and then we'll make that look big. Maybe that's not too bad. Oop. There we go. And then we'll make the colors anything that we want. So I can click here and we can do like a linear gradient. Let me punch that onto the bottom there. Let's choose some colors, some like really nice colors. Why not something like this? I can put another one right in the middle here. Let's do really bright. Create another one where we'll get darker. And another one here. Doing something similar. Sure. There you go. A little bit of a metallic effect on this thing. And then, how you doing, Gout the Me? And like Dave wanted, a giant rectangle in the background that I can basically say full screen it, move it to the bottom. And then I can just make this, you know, a nice gradient. Maybe a radial gradient. Haven't done that yet. So yeah, if you've ever used any kind of software, design software, picture software, CorelDRAW, Photoshop, all of this stuff will be similar and familiar to you. Look at that. Haha, I can do like a spotlight. Look at that. I'm gonna make it a nice dark, this sort of grayish blue. And then the other side, I can make it something like that. How does that look? Anyway, so what's the point of all this? Yeah, colors don't match, but the point of this is that you can basically create anything that you want. I can add another image here. I can put my own images if you want it. So if you wanted to add a custom image to this, which I don't have, you can add it to the folder by clicking this media folder. Actually, let me do that just so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. Do I have a random image that I can use? Let's see what's in my treasure trove of stuff here. I feel like as soon as you want to find something, you forget where everything is. How about this? Some subtle effect here. Okay. So because I did that, I can go into here, find that image. Let's see if it actually displays anything. Oh, you see what it is. It's like this whole effect in the back in the background. That's kind of cool. Take a screenshot with my webcam. Okay. That's actually pretty. Okay. I think I did that wrong. Let me do that again. All right. I'm not sure if you guys can see anything, but I'm going to see if I can drop this directly into my LaunchBox. Oh no, it's not here. Look at all of this. All right. Oh, this is too much. Too much, Dave. I don't even think I saved it in the right spot. Let me see. Too bad. I didn't save it in the right spot. Okay. Actually, I have a button right here. There we go. It's the right spot now. Come on. One of those has got up here, right? Nope. Alright, let me save it. Alright, let's see if that helped. There you go. There. Now everybody can have my face. In the corner. But what's the point of all this? So the point of all of this is that you can create an image, and sort of like an image template here. So we're using Adventure Island as just the template example. And here I can do like the game developer just as an idea. Do all uppercase, choose a different font. Make it big. Maybe too big. I can take this and I can rotate it if I want. Something like this. I can put it here. Won't be the best. You know, the sky's the limit, essentially, here. This might have to be smaller. I can move it with my keyboard. So if I click here, slightly move it. This is not exact, is it? Yeah, it was close. Come on, 270. There you go. And then at the bottom, if the name gets too big, I can say, hey, trim it to the last character that it can see. And I'll put little dots at the end. And so the point of this, I should stop, is that now that I have this as an example, I can go through all of my games here and it will change to all of them as you would expect. And then if I wanted to, I can click here and I can render all the games within this platform or in my entire library or just this one game that I'm on. I can save it either using the database ID, which is very important if you're wanting to use it as a sort of like a custom wheel image for your themes. You would want it to be the database ID because that's something that's unique across all the library. Or you uncheck that. Like if I uncheck that, now it will save as the game name. So you got that option. But let's say what would happen if I click this button. Now all of a sudden, you're gonna see all the images render one at a time because you have 774 Nintendo games. And you basically made your complete set of Nintendo marquees exactly the way that you want, all in its own image. And if you wanted to tweak it, you can always come back, do your little tweaks. You have this project file that you created, and you can create your own, modify it, and then republish it. And if you want to share it, you can share it on the forums. Now, the sky is the limit, basically. That is one way that you can do this. So this is great for marquees, and I don't think, or you know what this is also great for? If you wanted to create your own bezels. You want to create your own bezels for like RetroArch or MAME or whatever, you can do that. Just create your own and place it in your MAME or RetroArch folder. Anyway, I'm not going to wait around for the 700, but you get the idea. It will save inside of this folder here. So let's say I created, this is inside of the POC theme that I have. And if you go into custom images, you'll see that within the games, I believe all of these are the folders, are all of the configuration that I just made. So yeah, you don't want to touch any of these. There they are, all of the images that it made. And there you go. If I always wanted to see my face, I could create this marquee and have it up on my second screen every time that I launch Big Box. I can cycle through them. There you go. So that is one way. Like, if you don't want to deal with the coding, if you don't want to deal with anything else, this program is still amazing. And as far as I know, I don't know if it's the only one that does this, but it's definitely the best one that does this. And it's crazy that you were able to come up with this, Dave, and add to this, because hey, this could make amazing bezels. People could come out with huge bezel packs really quickly if you it's just going to utilize your LaunchBox library's images. Okay, so back, let's say you wanted to do this the code way. Oh, and maybe I should probably talk about why there's a giant yellow warning there. And that's coupled with one of the files that you were seeing over here. I'm pretty sure he does it with this file here. And he basically the program remembers when I hit that cancel button, and it remembers which one I've actually created, which images, and which images I have not created yet. And I can actually go back and tell it, hey, I want the rest of the images. Continue rendering my custom images. I can tell it to keep going. In this case, I don't want it to do that. Oh, and like, Rob, your marquee screen is still giant. 2560 by 1440. Anyway, let's do the second way. Now you can basically accomplish a number of this, what I'm doing here, in code, save it to one of those game marquee files, and then publish it into a theme. And you can actually share that file on the forums if you wanted to, and tell people, hey, I got this cool marquee file. It'd be a lot smaller. It would use the user's library's images and not yours, obviously. Whereas if you did it the other way, you'd be providing the images, so it would look exactly the way you'd want every time. So how would we do that? So we would jump into the game marquee view. And basically do the same thing. Like, I could put a rectangle in the background. I could color it any way that I want. So you could do this if you wanted to, and you can have your own. You don't have to use the default marquee. That's basically what we're getting at here. I would say a lot of people, I would guess, if you're not really nostalgic over needing something the exact same size as a marquee, if you're not really looking for that experience of recreating like the arcades in your home, but you want to utilize a second screen, this is great for if you're wanting to show people more images of different things. You could have, if you have, I don't know if this exists. This would be awesome if it exists, but like an image for all of your controls for every one of your game, and you can just have it displayed here. That's awesome, Rob. Yeah. That's the way that I'd recommend that you build your images, through that custom image creator. But, I mean, let's go through what we got here. let's say I wanted to, well, I don't have any of those custom metadata images. So let's say I wanted to show gameplay over here. And then I wanted to have like a text appear. And you want it to display some of the game notes. And you would definitely want that to be wrapping. Maybe 20. And over here you can have your box art. Maybe make it go on that side. And a nice clear logo. Now let's just dump that bad boy in the middle. And there, you basically have a marquee, or at least the beginning of one, no matter how bad it looks, and you can see what it would look like in different games. You can jump to different systems. Now, this is something that you'll want to keep in mind. And this goes for any views that you make within the theme creator as well as outside. And that's, let's say you get to a system and that system just does not look good with what you designed. Let's say you thought that it looked great in the Nintendo Entertainment System, but when you switch to Game Boy as an example, well, now the box might be too small because it's a smaller box. Actually, this works better if I did like the Super Nintendo as an example. The box is like so tiny and I'm losing half this space, or things aren't really the way that you want it to be. Well, that's what this button here is great for. Right, I can copy what I have here in the default and I can scroll down to my Super Nintendo and paste what I have. And what this will do is it starts me off with this layout for the Super Nintendo, and now I can make changes, but only make those changes to the Super Nintendo platform in Big Box. So when I export and publish these files, and how you're doing, Survivor, it will only publish, these changes will only be for that Super Nintendo. So you can potentially create marquees or any of the views on a per platform basis. Right, I can come in here. I want to make this marquee or this so much bigger because it's, I want it to take more of the screen. Maybe I want it to be at the bottom. Maybe I'd rather have this over here. Hey, Obsidian. And now the changes that I just made would only apply to the Super Nintendo. And I can actually see right here that I have this little icon. Basically means I have a default, which you have to have, a default file, a theme in there, and I have a Super Nintendo one right there. So if I switch back to the default, it will display just like it displayed before. Alright, let me read your question, Survivor. Is there a way to override your LaunchBox settings, you're saying? And you want, so for per theme, I guess you're saying you want to ignore a user setting within their own LaunchBox and get them to play any of those theme types. I do believe that there is a way to do that, but not in the theme creator, I think. And the only reason why I know that is because I'm pretty sure that I saw somebody, it was probably Cbeat, write a piece of code somewhere on the forums about, maybe it was in one of the POC theme threads, where you have to just add a little line saying, like, you know, which video that you want to play within the video code. I can get that to you later. I don't think I'll be able to find it right now. Or you can try to search for that. It's on the forums within one of those POC threads. All right, so we talked about Marquee, and we talked about what you could do. You could create images, and basically it just creates an image for every single one of your games inside of your library of LaunchBox. So that's a really easy way to create your own library's Marquee images. Or you can do it this way through a theme file, if you just want to do it this way, which is fine. The other thing that I'd want to mention, that if you do it this way in the theme file, and I don't know if this has been touched, I don't think it has, there are a number of things that, Dave, that you allow within this Marquee editor that is not allowed in Big Box. I don't know the full list, but and that basically comes down to, I don't think that plugins are allowed in the Marquee view right now. And that means any one of these elements that deal with plugins, I think, will fail and not work. So best to stay with images, static text. Any one of those will work, which is why you see, I think animated GIF will work. These rectangles and ellipses will work. I think that's it, something like that. Currently, videos do not work in Marquees, even though you see some videos here. They sort of kind of work, but not really. Oh no, all the elements use plugins? Oh no. Okay. There are a number of elements here that just will not work. And that's just something you have to test out, and then maybe we can take a look at that in the future. To just make sure that what's being displayed here actually would function within Big Box. Anyway, let's move on to sort of like my main event. I saw a theme a very long time ago, one of the Emulation Stations themes, and I thought, you know, I could loosely base, you know, that concept on in a LaunchBox theme, and I never did. And so why don't I try today, because it's a good opportunity to go back and can I even find the theme, and just sort of do a loose adaptation of this theme. I think, anybody hear of Angular? I guess this guy, oh no, it wasn't this guy. This one. So this guy made a theme, fairly basic, I would say. You know, it's got two views. or maybe 3. It's got this one, which, hey, no problem, Rob. Where it's basically just a text list of, I guess this is games. This is a list of platforms. It's, if I'm looking at this from a theme perspective, I'm like, well, could I do this? Well, I could do this. I could make a rectangle, maybe. You could do this with an image, but probably better to do it with a rectangle. I can skew this over to give that skewed look. And this is just like either a video or a screenshot image here. I'm always finicky about this because whenever you display the types of buttons to do something, you can never make that work for everybody. I tend to shy away from hard coding images or text like this. So maybe the start menu, the start doesn't bring up the menu. Maybe A doesn't select. Maybe they're not even using a controller that has an A button. All right. So I'm going to do this and put my own spin on this, just based on visually looking at this picture. So yeah, I give full credit to, if I can find the person's name on here, Little Bud. Full credit to Little Bud, who made this theme for his arcade cabinet, mainly because he got permission to bring it to school to celebrate the last week, I guess, of school. And he wanted to do something special for it. So let's do that. Let's look to see if I can create something like that. So brand new theme, and maybe we'll learn something along the way. I'm going to call it Tilt, just to get a little different than Angular. Actually, in there, I should edit and say all credit the original concept to Little Bud. Let's ES theme. Oh, give thanks. There you go. This theme is based on Little Bud's ES. All right, let's take a look. Let's go to arcade. And we're going to start with the platform view. Platform wheel 1. And this is what we're going to do. We are going to create 2 rectangles. Let's start with the rectangle, because this is exactly what we kind of need to have happen here. I'm going to make it exactly half, maybe. No. Let's do maybe 1,000. Of course, I just positioned it to 1,000, so let's position it to 0. Width 1,000. No, I want it to be less, don't I? 800. Which I might make that 900. Height, I do want it to be, let's position this to the top. Make sure that the Y position is 0. I'm going to make this as big as I can do on my screen, which is 1080. And we're going to drag that to the side here. To get that skewed look, we've got these skew buttons. I believe this is an X. I don't know which direction I have to drag it, so I'm just going to test. That's the wrong way. Okay, there you go. Maybe only 10 degrees. Minus 10 degrees, I mean. No, not too bad. Can leave it there for now. What I'll need to do to get this off the screen, because I don't think it'll let me go, is I'll need to, there's a button, actually it's hidden up here now, called Lock to Canvas. So if I uncheck that, also you can see here there's a nice hotkey called Alt-L. So let me use that, Alt-L. There you go, Canvas Lock has been disabled. I can now push this over to cover the whole screen. Look at that. And now that I do that, I realize that I probably need this a little bigger. So let's go to 1,000. I will need to bring this back here. And now let me go to 1,000. And NJ Dave, welcome to the stream here. So the last time you created a theme was a couple years ago, and it was the Aeon Nox theme. That was great. Yeah, it featured a scrolling marquee. That's awesome. Yeah. And you're saying a scrolling marquee within the marquee view? Because obviously that would be pretty awesome. All right, let's reposition this. All right, something like that would be great, right? I'm gonna make this some sort of gray color that's not glaring to the eye. So this will be the rectangle background here. Oh, nice. So you can do that in the theme creator, which is great. So you can come here and we have this text scroller element that Dave created. You can see there. And you can, I don't know, I guess put anything there. Let's say you just wanted platform name, platform notes. I think that's really common. And then if I can remember how to do this, make this sort of fast. Here, orientation, way up here. Look at how fast that's going. Something like that. Is that what you mean? Make that a bit bigger. Whoa, okay. Forgot that I don't have canvas lock on. There you go. Something like that. Yeah, then you can do that. You can create, you know, the same stuff that I was showing earlier. So you can have gradients going. Here you go. Doesn't look great, but you know, you can do that now, which is great. All right, let's take a look. So I'm pretty sure this will just be a horizontal scrolling. And what do we got? Horizontal images, device images. Let's do clear logos. And we'll just have it scrolling left and right there. All right, what do people want to see? Would you rather see an image of a game like we saw online? So you could do something like image, put this behind, and do a metadata of like the, that's right, we're not in game. So you would have to do it using this folder content. So it could scan the folder content of a platform's screenshots, if I can find it here. Or not, since I don't see it here. But you can do the background, fan art background. And I could put this behind everything. I can make this full screen. There you go. And this is how I did the POC thing, where it changes the background every so often. Right now it's just going in sequential order, which is fine. I'll just do delay. Oh, selected item though. Okay, so that'll just pick an image and then display it here randomly. And then there's these cool sort of functionality here to either gray screen it or grayscale it. So you could potentially just have it grayscaled if you're wanting to control the color, because then you can introduce color back into it if you're wanting to, with a gradient or with a solid color, whatever you really want. If you're wanting to control the color scheme of your theme, you can do that. Of course, you'll want it to be a little bit transparent. That would be nice. There you go. So yeah, that's a possibility. In my case, probably don't want that to happen. And we'll probably remove this as well. So I just want it white. Or 0%. There you go. Okay, so let's take a look. The main thing that I actually wanted to go to do is I wanted to create a copy of this rectangle. And what we're going to do is we're going to do something kind of cool. Let's paste in place. So we're going to have two copies of this rectangle. The first copy and both are in the exact same spot. So I'll call this one like the overlay. And what I'll do is down here, actually I won't do that yet. We're going to talk about what this is, what this button is. So this is basically the color of the rectangle. Right now that color was gray. That's the color that I chose before. But this conditioning will basically allow me to set different colors for different systems if I'm wanting to. And since, you know, I wanted this to look half decent, what I'm going to do is I'm going to borrow. If do I have something here that I can use to borrow? So Viking has a great colorful theme that he created. A lot of people like it. Let's do LaunchBox. There you go. Oh, look at that. So let's take a look. Oh, you know what? I actually downloaded this. This actually would make a lot more sense. So he accomplished the same exact thing using another plugin and called the Themer plugin, which is getting a little long in the tooth. It probably needs some updates. Let me just double check. Where did I put his theme? Did I put it here? No, I did not. Interesting. Okay. This would have made a lot more sense if I had his theme. I thought I did. I also don't have it here. Okay, so let's download it. Let's do it. Could probably just download it from the theme manager. Let's do that. Okay, so how to download a theme from the theme manager. There it is. Doesn't matter which one we get, but simple enough to just hit the install button and it will download. All right, so now that we have it, let's get out of here. And let's go find it. There's his theme, and the way that he has it, if I can remember correctly, everything I believe is hidden somewhere in here. So you can see here that this is holding a bunch of colors, and you know, we'll borrow these colors just as this example. So you can see here basically a configuration file that's housing a bunch of colors for different systems, and this plugin will transition it to something else. Hey Neon Live, hope you're doing good today. We are looking at using these colors. These are hex colors, and we're going to add it to, I should probably close that, shouldn't I? Okay, to this wheel. I should bring this back in here, this overlay, and let me show you how to do that. So basically you just need to know a little bit of block logic, basically. Not really. So let's say I add this and I say, okay, well, this rectangle is gray unless some condition down here is met. So in that case, I could say, you know, if you have a TurboGrafx system, use this color. All right, so say use this color when the platform name value contains TurboGrafx. I can add another one. How about if you're the name, what color is this? So use this if the platform name value contains Nintendo. Entertainment system. Well, let me add a couple more here. So, and you can go crazy. You can add all of your systems. Notice you can do exact matches for your systems, or you could just do partial matches, so contains TurboGrafx. So if I have TurboGrafx CD, TurboGrafx 16, it will include it. Let's go with arcade. Let's use this color for arcade. Oh, and I should be able to just click this. Can I yet? I guess not. Okay, so I'm gonna add gotta have that. There we go. So go down to platform name, contains arcade, and then we'll add a Sega one. Why not? So let's say here's a Sega Genesis. I chose notes there. Gotta make sure. And then here we'll do Sega Genesis. And then maybe like a Sega CD, which is probably going to be blue. Alright, so I won't do all of them in the stream. I'll maybe come back later before I publish this theme, add a few more. Just sort of showing you guys how this will look. Okay. So what does this mean? Let's save this. So far, what I've done is I said, if the platform I'm on is arcade, make it this color. But if I go to Nintendo, make it this color. And if I go down here to Sega CD, make it this color. And if I go down to Sega Genesis, make it this color. Do I have my Turbo Graphics 16? And so you can add these conditions all on the exact same rectangle and make it so this rectangle will change colors for as many systems as you have. And so the last thing, if you want to make it just a little more polished, then what you can do is you can add a simple animation. So if I go down here, I'm on overlays, and you can see here that C button, and you can mouse over it. This element has color conditions. That's what that little icon means. So let's create, let's say, okay, so if I'm selecting a menu item, so I'm moving the cursor, I'm moving the game, I'm going to say I want you to go from the current opacity to 0 opacity. And I want you to take 0.25 seconds. And I'll just do something like that, signese. Then I'm going to create the exact same animation, but this time I'm going to say once you're selected, now I got to reverse this. Go from its current opacity to 100% opacity. And I want it to take maybe 0.5 seconds. So what exactly will that do? Let's take a look. It makes it so while I'm selecting a game, it will turn gray. And it'll let me select the game. And then once I land on a game, you'll see it grow gray out and then come back as the color that it needs to do. So basically will fade back in as the new color. This gives it a little more polish than it just jarringly jumping in there. People seem to like when things are a little more smooth. And in that sense, I can do basically something very similar. No, I'll leave that as it is. What's this one? Right. Okay, so far so good. Let's create... Actually, can I even create one? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a new group below. I'll call this background. I'm going to grab the background image. I'll put like a, not stats, but more like info. And I'll put that in between everything else. Come on, there we go. Now I'll create a rectangle here. Ooh, I should really turn back on the canvas lock at this point. Okay, so it's locked. There we go. And I'll make this black. And I'll turn down the opacity to maybe 85. So you should be able to see what's underneath it, but it should be black enough that any text that I put over it, you should be able to see it. There you go. So NJ Dave, so you're saying you faced the challenge of scaling to various aspect ratios. Do you mean aspect ratios? So when your theme just switched to 4x3, you know, what would happen? Everything would just become squishy. You could lock your aspect ratio to one of those. So even if you were on, let's say you were on a 16:9 screen, it would still show up as 4x3. So it would show up like in the middle of your screen and it would leave black bars on the side. You could lock it to 16:9, which would leave black bars on the top and bottom if you were on a 4x3. Or you could try to design it in a way that you had the ability to place elements on certain sides of the screen. Now, if you wanted it to be modular like that, you would have to leave space. So the user wouldn't be able to choose. The user doesn't, we don't have that ability to give the user, to tell the user what you would want. You would have to create, I mean, the cleaner solution is to just create two themes. A 16:9 theme and a 4x3 theme. That would be the simplest or the cleanest solution. The other solution is to just make your theme dynamic, right? So you'd make it so it can change form, and you would have to test it on both of those forms, aspect ratios, and that has been done. There are themes out there that do that. Yeah. And so that's a choice that you have to make as a theme developer. One thing that we cannot do is combine two themes with two aspect ratios with two different files, one with a 16:9, one with a 4x3. Right? It would just be simpler to just have two different themes, and then that's how you give the choice to the user, right? So then the user would just have both themes, and they would just say, okay, I've got a 16:9 screen, so I'm going to utilize, you know, NJ Dave's super theme 16:9. Click, and then they're good to go. That'd be the simpler solution. Alright, so let's do like a nice platform name here. No, that was a good question, because there are different ways that you can do that. And then, of course, what Dave's saying is other issues that we were all having, if you remember, NJ Dave, is like if people were changing their resolution, all of a sudden pieces of your theme would look different. Like the text list would become bigger on smaller resolution screens, or the text list would become the text would become larger if people were changing their text scaling in Windows. And so to solve that, you kind of need a plugin to do the math for you and to change the text or the elements automatically to scale to the appropriate size, no matter which theme. And that's what the theme creator does, which is one of, I would say, the big benefits to the theme creator that's not noticeable right off the bat. Okay, there you go, Dave. Want me to take a picture of this? because I can't. Oh, I can. Does this tell you anything? If it does, here you go. Something about line 585. All right. Let me come back in there and see how much we've got saved. I'm gonna say not much, but I can always get it back. All right. Okay, we got a good chunk of that saved, so that's good. So let me create the new group, and we'll put it down here. Right, so this is what we get when we use beta testing, when we're beta testing a new application, which is always good, always help. And talking about beta applications, the new beta is out on for LaunchBox. So beta 11.13 beta 1 is out. So if you're sitting there on your computer and you have access to your LaunchBox and you want to help us look at the future features of LaunchBox and help us test it, you can always go into LaunchBox, check off become a beta tester, and see how it works. It's got a lot of fixes and a few new features for importing your games. Or basically the features is the features in this case are so that you can do more while you import your games. But yeah, it's always an option, and you can always opt in whenever you want. But especially if you were there was a few bugs in the last release for specific people in certain conditions, like if you put your images on a shared drive, network drive, or on a different drive somewhere else, it could potentially duplicate those images, and so there's a fix for that in the new beta. Okay, so rectangle again. We'll place this rectangle. Let's colorize it quickly. We'll do 85%. Okay, so I'm going to do text. We'll go down to platform. Choose a nice skinny font. I'm really liking these fonts here. What does 45 look like? Except it's not skinny enough. Let's do another one. Alright, let's use this one, and then we will all uppercase that. And don't worry, Dave. We know what we signed up for. Look at that. Beautiful. The reason why I kind of want it to be skinny is so that even if you had a very long name, hopefully it fit. And one of the longest names that we have that we can basically test out is the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Look at that, and it fits nicely. Alright, so let me say, okay, this is the platform name. I can make a nice copy of that, paste in place. Alright, we'll bring it down. So I'm holding shift and I'm moving the cursor keys, which will move it in chunks like this. And then if you let go of the shift, it will move really slightly. You can make it nice and exactly where you need it to go. You can see a bunch of smart guides that are showing me that it's in the exact same position as another element. It's in the middle of another element. Obviously, it's the other text element here. And what I'll do is I'll do the little slight grayish. Oh, you know what? And then I will say that this is, as I thinking about what I'm doing here, this is going to be probably, what do you think you'll want to know? The developer? Yeah, let's do the developer. Let's make it a bit darker. Even more. You know what I can do instead? I can make it white, and then I can just reduce the opacity so that you could see through it, giving it the same color that I want, but, oops, 400%. I want it to be 40%, please. But you slightly might be able to see the color coming from behind it depending on the background image, so that's a good idea. So this is the platform publisher. And then I also want the release date . And of course, I like just seeing the year. Well, let's do something different this time. Let's do, One thing that I probably would do if I could is do something like the month, like this, if I could make that November uppercase. So I don't think that you made that available in the release date, unless I'm missing it. That's okay. Let's take a look at some of the other options here. Let's use this one. Why not? Is it month, day, year? Or day, month, year? Which one is everybody used to? I feel like it depends on where you come from. And that's why I stick with year. Okay, so this probably doesn't need to be so large. Okay, this release year, I'm going to put there you go. In Europe, it's day, month, year. Day, month, year. Yeah, and here it's, I think here it's month, day, year. Which just makes things very complicated because you don't know what you're looking at sometimes. Okay, let's look at this for a second. So what do I want to do? I want to copy. How much can I copy from this? Helvetica, and then 45. I believe I put, oops, it's got another 40%. How much of the text can I copy from this element to this one? I cannot. Okay. They are different elements, so I wouldn't have expected that I could. So let's do it manually. Helvetica. Is it this one? I think it's this one. and then I will do 45, and then I believe I said that it was 40% opacity, and then I'll make it bigger. There you go. Okay, great. I'll probably want this to be the same layout, and then just move it so that I know it's exactly centered. And oops, I'm gonna create a copy of this one. No, a copy of this one. And the reason I'm creating a copy of this one, so let's move this name maybe down to the bottom. Organize it a bit. This will become my dash. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to find a symbol. So something that I don't believe I did last time for you guys. So sometimes I'll just go online and look up like, I don't know, square, symbol. Actually, let's look at just different alt codes. Let's do something cool. Look at that. Doesn't that look like a Tetris? Like a Tetris block. That's cool. I wonder if that works. Look at that. All sorts of cool stuff if it works. Let's find out if it's gonna work here. So instead of metadata, I can just use a constant value. I don't think it's working. Probably the font, I'm gonna guess. Oh no, it is working. It's just way in the corner there. Ah, look at that. Can have some random text there that looks like a an odd looking Tetris shape. I'll make that smaller. Maybe like 30. $20. $22. That's right. We need more Comic Sans. You can never have enough. Alright, and if you're on the current build of the theme creator on the forums, this is basically as good as it gets. Like you position this, you position this. You would probably not want to do it this way, because obviously if the name Nintendo changed, it would just make Nintendo, and it was longer, some other name, it would just go way over the release date. You couldn't push this. But now with parenting, I can combine all these elements and make it so that it works a lot better. Let's take a look how that works. So with a dock, I can basically make it the dock the same size as this, the name. So I'll just copy the layout. I'll push the layout down to about here. Okay, so now that I have that, I'm wondering if I should put it inside of a grid, a dock inside of a grid. We'll see if we actually need to do that. Okay, I might. So let's say I wanted to have the publisher inside of this dock. Okay, then I make this platform publisher auto size, both width and height. So it's only as large as the text inside of it. Does that help, Dave? A dock inside of a stack? Or are you referring to the fact that I have the platform name above all of these other elements, so you'd stack those on top of each other? I was looking at, like, how can I make it so it doesn't go off of the edge of this? Anyway, so back to this. I can basically put the dash here. Also do the same thing, auto size. Make it try to go in the middle here. Go in the middle here. Okay, I'll do the same with the release date. So put that below. And you can see what it's doing is basically docking everything from left to right over here, depending on the order that I place items in the dock. Like if I wanted the release date to be at the front, I just move it and there it's at the front. If I want it to be at the back, like I had it, I just move it back. And now it's as good as it's gonna get. I also need to auto size this. And yeah, so far so good. You're saying set the max width of the stack. What happens if I set the max width of the dock? That would accomplish the same thing, right? Like if I were to say here 936. And yeah, I could stack this like Dave's saying. Basically, and why don't I do that? Why don't I do it? Because he really wants me to do that. So what does that mean? It means that you can create this stack. I can make it the same. Well, let's start by making it the same size as this. And then I'll make it larger, like so, to encompass both. You just want me to show off that you can this whole concept is called parenting, and you can basically parent items inside, or other parenting items in front of other parenting items. So all of these items here. Let's take a look. I probably should say that I would need to... Oh, I already did. That's right. So the dock could also just be auto-sized, I think. And now what I would want to do is I'd want to put this platform name on top of the dock. And there you go. Can margins be negative? Let's find out. They can. Okay, so now I'm making the Nintendo text come a little closer. There you go. Look at that. Now the only thing, and what would bug me so much, is if I left it like this, because you can see that the Nintendo and this sort of Tetris symbol and the release date, they're just too close to each other. So what I would probably do is create margins. Let me think about this. Yeah, I don't think it actually matters in this case. So let me put margin of 5 on the dash, which puts it away. Let me do that, even double that. I gotta have double that. The release date, push that away. That is such an odd symbol, isn't it? Yeah, that's gonna bug me. As cool as it is, let's just do a square. Huh, look at these. What does that look like? Whoa! Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter here, does it? Where I put the margins. So let's say 15 here, 15 here. I definitely want to reduce the size of this. So let me put this at 15. 12. Yeah. I'm going down to 10 and I'm going to reduce the opacity a bit. There you go. The platform clear logo. No, I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay. Yeah, and now that I'm looking at this, maybe I just wanted this to be 10. All right. Look at that. Yes, I'm a chicken. Well, you know what I figured is that the clear logo will already be in the wheel. So we don't want to have another clear logo. All right, anything missing? Maybe what we could do, we can center it. Now, I don't know if I want to because of the slanted, the slant on this side. So one thing that I have not done yet is put the total games. So what I'll probably do here is I'll make a copy of this doc, but I'm going to place it outside. No, I'll just place it inside the stack. Why not? Paste in place. I want that to be inside, don't I? And outside of here. There we go. Perfect. I'll make this larger. And yeah, I've never done this before, so let me position this. I kind of want it like pretty far away. And I want the items inside to be different. So I'll say this one, I want it to be the total games metadata. And this one, I want it to actually just be the total games. No. Oh. Guess I did not close that, did I? Alright, I will answer him later. So, let me get rid of this middle item. And this will just be the text. A nice margin in there. And I do want this to be a lot smaller. Maybe not that small, maybe 30. Something like that. Okay, so let's actually change the metadata here. So we can say total games count, and then down here I can switch this to oh, of course, I deleted the wrong one. Let me make a copy of this. We'll delete this release here. This will be the text, and the text will basically be a static constant value, and I'll just say total games. And I'll do 10 margin away. How's that? I almost wonder if I want this to be slightly more faded. To 25%. And now I have this entire stack looking exactly the way that I want. It's modular in the sense that it will move depending on how long the names are. Oh yes, okay, so this is how it works. How about if you only had one game? Could you have 0 games? Is that a thing? Will Big Box display anything if you didn't have a game in there? But I don't think so. Okay, so I'm just gonna move this a little down, try to center it in my little box, and then, oh, it does? Is that like when you hide? Even if you had all the games hidden in a platform? I did not realize that. Well, let's at least put a scenario. If you had one game, you don't want it to say, I have 1 total games. You want it to say I have 1 total game. Or you could have it say I have 1 game. So let's take a look. What does that look like? That would look like I would have to create a copy of this. And I would have to call this game. And I would have to use the visibility conditions. So this is the text blocks of just game. And I've got to create what's called visibility conditions. Now, this is basically saying, this is exactly like the color visibility conditions, except, or it's like the color conditions, but for the visibility of a particular item. So I can say, I want this to be collapsed. The difference between hidden and collapsed, if anybody's wondering, and I don't know the whole ins and outs, I hear if you collapse something, it's more performant than if you hide something. But I guess the idea is that if you collapse it, it basically disappears and doesn't get rendered or loaded. But if you hide something, it still appears and it still renders and takes up space, but you just can't see it. Is that correct, Dave? That was my interpretation of the two. I could be wrong there. Okay, so let's say I collapse it and I don't want it to show unless I want it to be visible if the total games count is exactly 1. There you go. So I was sort of right. So collapsed means it basically collapses into nothingness, giving it 0 height and 0 width. If it's hidden, it still takes up space. So the height and width is there. It's just like turning down the opacity to 0, making it completely transparent. But it's still there. It's like putting on the cloak of invisibility. You're still there and you can still get hit. You just can't see you. Okay, we do need a visibility condition because now I basically said display the text that says game, but only display it if this number, total games number, equals 1. And then for this one, I'd want to put a condition, say, I want to make it visible, but I want it to be hidden if the total game count, again, value, is 1. So that's one way of doing this. I could have probably also said Another way of doing this, I could say I want it to be, and this is collapsed obviously, I want it to say collapsed if the total game text visibility was visible. So this line would basically do the same thing that I need it to do, but it does it in a different way. So this will say, okay, check to see if this element game is visible. If it is visible, make the total games element collapsed. And this one checks the total games count and says if it equals 1, make it collapsed. So it accomplishes the same thing. And I don't know if anyone is better than the other, so just kind of pick one. And oh, give me 1 second here. All right. Oh, and thank you so much for that up here, Seabeat. There you go. Hidden takes up space. Collapse doesn't. So we've peer reviewed that. Okay, so even though I have the visibility conditions in place, you will see both elements in this view, and that's because if you couldn't see one of those elements, you wouldn't be able to edit it. So that's why we're seeing them in this view. You can see that they are conditioned here by this V icon. But if I save this and I went out, which I always want to do, because if this crashed and I did not hit that save button, I would lose my work. So outside of the editor, you can see here that in fact it is working. I'm no longer seeing the game text element because I have 774. And in fact, I don't think there's really any way that I can check, unless I had a system that just had one game, which I don't. Do I have a playlist that only has one game? Do playlists still work, Dave? Probably. So what you're seeing here is that I probably need some visibility conditioning, because you'll see here that in a playlist, and this is something as a theme creator, very easy to forget. I don't think I have a playlist with one game, although let's find out. Oh, okay. How many board games can I possibly have? There you go, one game. Okay. It's working, one game. So the logic seems to be fine. And so you can see here, something to always forget is that if people are viewing their stuff in a platform or in playlists, that you'll really have to remember that there's no release here, and there's no publisher, and there's no like a whole bunch of other things, manufacturer and manufacturing. There's a whole bunch of platform metadata that just won't appear, and you can see that in this case it's not appearing, but it left my dash there. So easy solution. Let's go into this one. Let's take that dash and basically say, if there is no release date, hide or collapse that dash. And so at least we're covered that if the release date wasn't there, but the publisher was, that you would still see the publisher, the dash would disappear, the release date wouldn't be there anyway, and so there wouldn't be a random dash just hanging off the end of the publisher. So let's do that. Condition. I'm going to make this collapsed when my release date. I almost feel like, yeah, I can do that. The release date text is no value. That should work. Let's find out if it does. There you go. So because the release date had no value inside of it, the dash has now disappeared, and you're basically seeing arcade board and card games, nothing below it, and it's saying one game. All right, so far so good. Now what we don't know yet is what this looks like, this wheel. I'm assuming it's not going to look great. And to be honest, I was really hoping, that I would be able to copy all of this stuff and paste it into the platform filters, which is this one here, text filters view. This is more of a text list sort of thing. There you go. All right, let's go back to platforms. Actually, let's take a look at this one here. Okay, so if I were to remind myself what that theme was, and if you are joining and have no idea what the heck I'm doing, let me show you a little bit of what I'm doing. All right, so I took inspiration from this theme. And so you could see I was building something similar to this. And what I want to do is I kind of don't like this. And I sort of want to build this for platform. So in that case, I'll have a little icon, a little clear logo at the top of the platform, and then the list of the platforms. And I could potentially do this, have a little description that's scrolling. And that's basically it. Let's accomplish that right now. Okay, so let's go into here. I do believe there's a couple ways that we can do this. And the first way, and I don't know if you kept this on, I kind of remember seeing it. Maybe you removed it. Correct me if I'm wrong. There used to be a button that allowed us to see the clear logo at the top of the wheel. Is that gone now? If that's gone, that's okay. I can just build it myself. Which gives you a little more control over things. So in this case, I'll create a new group. Now the groups in this are sort of like... So they don't necessarily do anything but allow you to organize your elements. That's what these groups are for. So I could potentially just collapse these groups so I can see all of my the stuff that I need. Yeah, they're for layers. They also, of course, the positioning of them are definitely important. So what is that called? If I moved this one underneath the wheel, yeah, it's exactly like Photoshop. Exactly like Photoshop. I don't think Photoshop has groups entirely like this. We do have folders. The only thing that Photoshop can do that these groups can't do is you can't apply things to the group itself. So I wouldn't be able to right click and like fade out the group. You could, and that's what the parents are for, right? I could take this stack and then I can fade this stack out, and then it fades out everything within that stack. You know, if that was a grid, I could do that. So, but you can't apply that to the group. But essentially, it works exactly like Photoshop. It's all about layers. The top is more in front of the stuff below it. Dave, yeah, Photoshop looks overly complicated. Not as complicated. I would say that your program's getting there. It's getting to that point where it takes a little bit of learning to get used to it, just like Photoshop. Okay, so what was I doing here? Let's get rid of the wheel. Let's go down here and let's create an image of the clear logo. We basically need 3 layers here. Right? We need the clear logo, the wheel, and then we need a line, and then the text. So in this case, a text scroller. So I've got the elements. I'll need a line. What I will do is I will use, let's think about this. I will use a frame and I will stick the text scroller inside of it. Hey, console arcade game. Hope you're doing well today. We are getting pretty far and deep into this theme, I must say. So, and the reason I say this is because once we have this whole layout here, we can easily transition this over to the game view with a copy and paste, and then do a little bit of edits, and then we're basically done. So let's have some fun here. I realize that this wheel needs to go on top here. There we go. Okay, so we have all of the elements that we need. This will go up here. Make this a bit smaller. I want the clear logo to appear at the bottom and in the middle. I actually should make it a clear logo, so metadata. Platform clear logo. There we go. You're seeing that the color is not great. And so this would be a perfect theme to do this. And this might not work for every single clear logo, but I'm just gonna do it just to show you that it can be done. You can strip the color away from anyone's clear logo, and you do that by giving a color tint. Please say I'm doing this right, Dave. Now it's blocky. And then I can create an opacity mask over the current image. Look at that. I remembered. And so as long as the user's clear logo image doesn't have extra stuff, so I'll show you that this doesn't necessarily work well in every scenario. So if I went to, I don't even know which one. That one, there you go, Sega Genesis. It would sort of look like that, right? Because it can't distinguish between the actual image. So not entirely the best solution, but I wanted to show you guys that anyway, because it is very useful in a lot of scenarios that you have that power to just be like, hey, you have a colorful clear logo or a colorful something. Yeah, I'm taking that away from you if you use my theme. But in this case, what would actually be a more clean solution is the ability to just use white clear logos that are specifically white. And you can find these packs, and I know Dan on the forums, he is creating these logo packs, and keep saying they're coming really soon. He's creating these like from scratch. He's redoing all these platform clear logos, and it sounds amazing, like what he's doing. And it's something that once they're released, we'll be able to get, like, he's going to create a full platform pack, logo pack of all of these platform clear logos that are white, black, all these different colors, plus just the regular one. And so you can just take them, and there's a place that you can place them in the theme creator that will make it so it will replace anyone's normal clear logos and use yours instead. And so let me show you that. I'm trying to think if I already done this in the past for a theme. I must have, right? I feel like I did it with one of maybe here. I don't remember the last theme that I did this for. Okay, it's not here. Maybe it's this one. Ah, this one looks bigger. Maybe this one. Okay, so there's this Big Box Media Overrides folder. And so if you go in here in images, this will, let's say platform. I got clear logos. Here you go. See, I've got like a bunch. I don't have all of them. But let's use them. So again, go into tilt, we'll go into custom, no, that's wrong. Big Box Media Overrides, images, platforms, clear logos. You can see that you can override a user's basically almost anything, not everything, but quite a lot. You can override their videos. You can add your own videos, which is what I did with one of my, I think the retro bedroom theme. Because that one was just ripe for a bunch of old school advertisements, commercials. You could do fan art, devices, clear logo, banners for platform categories, playlists, and platforms, and all of them in videos, plus any game wheel you can replace. Yeah, you can basically replace anything. Almost. No, you can basically replace everything. Okay, so now that that's in there, you'll have to tell me, Dave, will that show up in the creator? All those Big Box Media. Oh yeah, it does, doesn't it? I'm like looking at it. Unless I didn't remove the color. Did I not remove the color on that? Let's find out. I feel like I didn't. Yeah. None. Get rid of that tint. And whoa, there you go. So it is using those Big Box Override images, which is great. So now if I go to Sega Genesis, it should use my image that I just placed inside of that Big Box Overrides folder. Let's see what it looks like. There you go. See? You can actually see the text now. Perfect. All right, let's go into Sega Genesis. I always wondered, is it like extremely strange for people that grew up in Europe to hear that we called this system Sega Genesis? Like, did that take a while to get used to? Or have you not gotten used to it and you refuse to use the word Sega Genesis when referring to this system? And you're one of those people that say, no, it's the Sega... I can't even remember what it's called. Sega Mega Drive. There it is. I feel like, I don't know, like I'm used to the Genesis, but if I grew up thinking that it was the Sega Mega Drive, I might find it extremely odd that people are calling it Genesis. You prefer it over the Mega Drive, Kevin? Feel like I do as well, but you know, that's just me and my nostalgia. Okay, so I think we're okay with the logo there. Now let's move on to... Oh, okay, let's do this a bit differently. So let's do the same thing. Let's create a stack. Genesis is a cool name, isn't it? Alright, we're creating a stack and we're going to place it here. Width will make 5. Sure, 575 is great. And then we'll just make the height something really big. Okay, looks all right. Maybe a little more, 920. Just to round that out. There you go. Look at that. It's perfectly in the center. So Neil, you've just gone like it's just been too long. That now they are just the same. Yeah, I feel like I'm at some similar spot as that. Okay, so we're going to do something similar as this side. So we're going to put this clear logo. And we're going to stick it in that stack. And we're going to make it auto size into there. To be honest, I don't really like how big it is. Let's bring it down a bit. Okay. And now we will center this by just aligning it to the center, or to the middle. That's a bit better. Second thing, wheel. I'm trying to think. Okay, so for this one, last week I did not talk about this wheel at all, and I just used something that was just okay for last week's theme. This week, I think I'm going to have to talk a little bit about the wheel and how it works. So I'll do that next. I'll place this frame below this. And now we'll talk about this. Okay. So the way the wheel gets its actual font styles is through, it used to be through an actual style sheet, kind of like a style sheet. And since then, and this is a long time ago, now it's been merged into one file so that we have sort of a style section and then all of the elements below that. And so the problem that we have now, I guess it's not a problem. One thing you have to realize now is that what the theme creator does is it gives you a bunch of presets, 7 of them. And so these presets have a set style that I'm pretty sure, Dave, you came up with, and you can switch between them and it will change the style. And like, this is a very easy way to choose one of these styles, and it'll come with something that you will like. Hopefully, if it doesn't come with something that you like, then you can create your own style. You just need to get familiar with the coding behind it. So let's get familiar. So I'm going to take this preset number 2. Let's take a look inside here. Okay, so look at that. It's a bunch of text and code, and fear not, it is not that complicated. You just have to get used to it. And I'll go over each thing a little bit right now. I'm going to copy all of this because I can't actually edit one of these presets, but I could create a new preset. I'm going to call it tilt And then just for the name of the theme, and I'm just going to say that this is for the text list. Okay, and then I'm just going to paste everything that was in number 2 into this one, and I will hit save. Now at this point, I do have to change this, so I'm going to go back here, and this button will change to edit. For some reason, if you don't, and then maybe this is something, Dave, that you want to look at, if you create a new list, the button just stays to browse. Browse is a read-only mode. You wouldn't be able to edit it. So all I did was I just changed to a preset, and I changed back. It updated the button to edit, and then now I can go in here and make any modifications to this list, and that will be reflected directly onto this text list once I hit save. Now do note that if you do make a mistake, you will get an error, and then I think the text list will disappear. Or does the whole program crash? I don't think the program crashes. I think it just errors out, and then you have to come in and fix it. Something like that. Okay, so let's take a look. Let me break this into a couple pieces to make things a little easier. Right, so basically, this is saying we're styling the text box, which obviously we know that that's what we're doing. And it's going to give you a bunch of general options. Now, normally you don't want to touch this section because you don't really need to. You could. Yeah, the text list goes away and it just sort of like errors out basically. And you'd have to come in here to fix it and find out where you missed something. So you can see here that you can kind of get an idea of how XAML works in this sort of style sheets. So it's basically saying within this text box item, there's a bunch of properties, and then give that property some sort of value. In this case, for the background of this list, make it transparent. If I change this to black or a different color or a hex number, it would make it that color. So like I could make it black, and I'm pretty sure that that would make it black. There it is. So it's like every single item, the background would be black. In this case, transparent is what we want. Border brush, there's all these different effects. So this is sort of the top. If you affect something here, it affects it for every single one of your items, which you can do if you want. And that's what happened here. You could kind of see that there was like this is a little tiny, but there was a background. No, you can still see it under the box. There's like a shadow. And so this thing, create an effect, make that a drop shadow effect, color it with this hex number color, and then make the opacity 100, shadow depth, and blur radius. So how blurry it is and how far away it is from the actual item. The only thing you don't see here is the direction. I think that's just called direction. You can set a number. It's like an angle. Anyway, I don't want any of that, so I'm going to get rid of from setter to the end of this setter. Goodbye. Okay, let's go back to, I'm going to break this into sections. So that's section 1. You're affecting everything in the list. Section 2 is this template. I'm going to break that into 2 sections. The first section is this in here. So this is your border. I don't think you have to have the border. It's there. Use it. You can make it invisible, which I believe it is in this case. The border thickness is 0. There is a slight margin below the border, which pushes the text items away from each other. The way that this works, if you don't know, is that there's 4 numbers here. Each number represents a side of the item. First number is, okay, I guess what I'm going to use. So first number is to the left, second number is on top, third number is to the right, and the fourth number is on the bottom, is down. That's what those 4 numbers mean. And that works for most of the things when you see 4 numbers, like for padding and for other things, that's what those numbers mean. So this means 10 pixels push the border 10 pixels away on the bottom. And that's why over here you saw that there was like 10 pixels between these two, between all the items. Yeah, okay. So that's basically what you see here. This is the border. This is everything that will appear inside of the text list. So in essence, you could take this border. So this is the bottom of the border, top of the border, and inside of here, you could place things if you wanted to. You could place images. You could place other elements to a point, and you can make things work. You can place a grid inside of here and then start placing other elements inside of here. Right? Because all it is basically these three things. It's a border, it's our content presenter. So this is what will present, this is the actual text item. And then there's the end of the border. So if I wanted to, I could place a grid around this content presenter. And now I have the ability to create other elements inside, next or to the right or whatever on this content presenter. Okay, so that's sort of the second block of text here, is that. And now comes the third section. And that's basically down to here. So maybe I might label this later. This third section, let's call the triggers or the conditions. Let's call them the conditions, because this is the similar, almost the exact same thing as what we were seeing when we were doing the color conditioning, when we were doing the visibility conditioning. Same concept, but for a very more limited use case. So in this case, and I don't know if this is all of them, you could add more, but let's say this is broken up into multiple sections here. And each section is its own condition, right? It's basically saying here, if the mouse goes over one of these items, what do you want it to look like? And so down here you could say, okay, well, if the mouse goes over one of those items, maybe I want maybe I want the text element foreground. Foreground is another name for the color of the text to be this color. What color is that? I don't know. I would have to use a hex. Actually, I do know. It is this slightly off-white color. And I can say, okay, well, maybe I don't want it to be that shade. I got it to be a different shade, right? So let's make it like FFFDDD. Something brighter. And of course, if you don't know, this is just a color spectrum where all zeros is black and all F's are white. And everything in the middle kind of goes together. I'm pretty sure each one of these two characters represents one of the colors, like RGB. It's probably something like that, right? Okay, so basically you can see that it's broken up into three main conditions. The first condition is if there's a mouse over the item. So if the mouse is over the item is set to true. So if there is a mouse over the item, make it this color. Second one says if the item is active is set to false. So if the item's not active, but the item is selected. So what that means is if it's active, it means that you've pressed entered on it. You entered, into it, or you launched a game or something, like you basically chose an item and you press enter, then something will happen and you can say, okay, if that happens, make the text red or something like that. So this is saying, say you haven't pressed enter on the item, but you have selected the item. Selected is true, do something. In this case, it's saying I want to make the text element this color. So let's see what the guys did. Okay, so then the last one is basically the final scenario here, which is if you've pressed entered on it, if the item is selected and then you've activated the item, do this. And currently you see there's nothing there, but it's here if you want to add something there. In fact, maybe I will. Let me just make it red. Okay, so let's take a look. I'm pretty sure we're wanting it to, loosely resemble this. Basically, you can see that the colors are not actually changing very much, so I didn't do this right. But it is adding a little bar next to the selected item. That bar, we can represent that, or we can create that using borders. Let's do that. So up here, I have a border thickness of 0, but what if I made that 3? Which would make the border thick, and then again, remember when I talked about the 4 numbers. So this is the left, this is the top, this is the right, this is the bottom. I only want 3 on the left. If I did this right, okay, so obviously there's nothing there. Oh, there you go. Because I need to set the conditions, so border brush. Got to set this to white. So this is the color of the border. And then down here, well, let's see what it looks like right now. It should look not great. All right, every single item now has that side. And one thing that you can do, and something that I didn't talk about, so let's talk about it, and then I'll talk about why you don't want to change it. So talk about the bottom section. So there's a whole bunch of a separate section. This is the 4th block of text, and it's basically saying, okay, how do you want to style the actual text? Do you want to style what font do you want it to be, the opacity of it, the foreground, the color of it, the weight and style of the font, all this stuff. And you can see here that there's these sort of variables that are actually linked to all of this stuff, so you don't actually have to touch that last section or last block. It's actually better just to do it this way. So in my, actually, which font was I using? Helvetica, right? This one. Yeah, let's just use the same font. We'll make the size of it, maybe that's too big. Sure. Okay, so how do we make the white border only appear on the selected item? So in this case, what I'd want to do is I'd want to make this transparent. So I don't want it to be anything unless you selected the item. So if the selected item is true but not active, then what I'd want to do is create a new one here. Change this to border brush. And then make this white. Let's see if I did that right. There you go. So now all of a sudden it's saying, by default, make the border brush invisible. But I want it to be there because I want it to take up space, because I want all of the games to think that there is one there so that they're aligning properly, but only make it white on the selected item. So far so good. Now I just have to decide, is it enough? Is it thick enough? Is it ever thick enough? I think I'm going to make it a little thicker. Maybe 4. Not bad. Okay. At the same time, I'm going to push the wheel away a little bit. Which is probably quite a bit, aren't I? I might go to 50. Yeah, that looks better. So far so good. I have colored, like, you can see that there's also a color to the font. What do you guys think? Just leave the color yellow? It looks good in this scenario. Let's take a look at a few different scenarios. So we'll go to just the regular gray. That's what it looks like. Let's go to the Super Nintendo. That's what it would look like. Actually, that one looks not too bad. We'll go to this one, which I think is the same color. We'll go to arcade, which is this color. Not too bad. One thing that I'm realizing is that in this scenario, see how the text or the clear logo actually gets really large. And so what I'd want to do to stop that is you want to set a max height. Actually, I want it to be a set height, don't I? So you would, instead of auto sizing the height, I would just say, okay, make it 150 and then just, don't allow it to get any bigger. And then in this case, but allow it to get larger to the size of this stack, which is set to exactly 575. So I'll make things a little better there. Yeah, okay, so far so good. So for this wheel, we kind of want to do something similar. We don't want it to get too large. We do have the ability to control it, so the height of this looks okay. Something you want to keep in mind, because we are using a centered text list thing, which means there has to be a center. In order for there to be a center, you would have to have an odd number of platforms listed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is not an odd number. So what you can actually do, and what I was going to do anyway, is sort of bring this down. So now this would mean that 5 on top, 5 on the bottom, the center would actually be Atari Jaguar. And it would sort of cycle through your list, staying in the center as best it can. So far so good. I feel like I might get rid of 2 more. That'll give me the space required. Oh no! Alright, not sure if this is a different error. So I will send it your way. And then we will load it up again. Luckily, I'm pretty sure I saved almost everything. Nope, I'm on the wrong layer or the wrong view. Let's go back here. Okay. Okay, so what was I doing? I was gonna make this smaller. There you go. So we got 9 items in the list, and there's enough space down here to give a good separation between this, as well as enough space for some text for the platform view, platform notes. So let's take a look at what I got. I've got this stack. I've got the clear logo on the top, the wheel in the middle. I'm gonna push the wheel down, maybe 30. And then this frame, I'm gonna auto size, I think the height. No, I don't want to auto size the height. Oops. But I will auto size. Oh no, the text scroller should be the same size as this, so let's do 216. The frame, I don't want a background color. But what I do want is the border. So what I'm going to do is the frame allows you to create a border at the very top. That's not the border. Here it is. Border thickness of about 2. And then I'm going to make it the foreground color of that. Well, it's already white. And then I'll probably fade it out a bit. Or maybe not. Let's take a look. Okay, so far so good. And then the text scroller, I also want to not have a background. There we go. How's that look so far? Hey Dan, you are coming in, you know, a good 2.5 hours in. So this theme is, I'm basing it off of this Angular theme. So it's loosely just sort of looking at this one and seeing what I can do to create something in Big Box using a whole bunch of fancy features in the community theme creator. Okay, so what I do want with this text scroller is I do want the, I don't think it's the margins. Maybe that's what I have to use. So I do want the margins to be a little different here. Maybe what I'll do is I'll do it on the frame, since there's padding here. And so what I want is I do want a little bit of padding here on the left and right. And I do want the top. And look at that, Dave, you already patched the issues that I'm having, eh? That's awesome. So this text, what I'd want to do is you could see when I put that padding on the frame, you could see that it's outlined the text and made it compressed inside of this frame. Now here, the scroll speed, I probably want it to be 2, begin at 6 seconds. So this is really good if, I might want to bring this up to 3. I'm going to have a vertically scrolling text. I'll make the text, I don't know, I guess the same as what I've been using, you know, just match it all up. Metadata, I'll make sure that that's the platform notes. I'll make sure that the orientation is vertical and not horizontal. I've got the color there, the background's gone, and I'll make the text a little larger, so 15, let's see how it looks. That's a little too small for me. 18. And of course I probably should have changed the font first. Helvetica, and a condensed version. Standard 57. And now you're seeing that there is some sort of strangeness going on. Let me make this a little bigger. To 20. Okay, There you go. Okay, so why is it large but not showing the bottom? Let's find out. Let me auto size that. How about that? No, that was a terrible idea. I see why. I see why. The stack is actually too big or too small. So let's sort of match that up. There we go. And now I can take this whole stack and I can align it back into the middle here. Okay, how are we looking? I'm okay with that. You guys will have to tell me. There you go. And then the whole benefit of being able to have this inside of a giant stack is now, if I wanted to, I could just move the whole stack around and all the elements will just come with it. Cool. Let's do one test. Look at that. We've got Star Trek TNG going on in the background. Let's switch over to the master system. We've got Rocky going on in the background now. Everything still looks aligned and nothing strange is going on here, which is nice. Let's go to PlayStation. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know where I got this font. So far, so good. Nothing's like jutting out or becoming different here. Also okay. Now, one thing that I noticed is that everything's sort of jumping around. So if I didn't want that to happen, yeah, it's a good question. I mean, if you're seeing, I was just picking a font from a giant list. I know I haven't purchased any fonts, although I did a very long time ago. I don't think I have any of those fonts in here. So what did I want to do? So I wanted to have the clear logo. Oh, right. This is probably a change that I didn't save. So I wanted to basically say, hey, make it so it's always... Okay, I don't even need this. I was crashing when I was doing this. That's right. So make it so it's always 150 height. So that will station that clear logo at the top, making the rest of the elements below it also always be in the same spot as I change here. So let's just confirm that that's actually the case. There we go. Cool. Cool. You can see I don't have the white logo for some of this stuff. There you go. That's what I want to see. The Nintendo one, which is nice and big. I can't wait to change those clear logos, those white clear logos, with another set of clear logos. You know what I'm talking about, Dan. There we go, right? Yeah, Helvetica does sound like something that comes with that comes with Windows. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're at a point where we can call the platform view a success, enough of a success to move on. Some people, I would say, might want the portion of the video to be playing in the background instead of what you see here. If you are one of those people, one thing that you can do is you can just take this full default, copy, and paste it in another view. In this case, I can't do that now that I'm thinking about it, because you only get one text view. But you could if you were doing this in the platform wheels view. All right, but in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy everything from here, and I'm going to paste it into the games text. Let's call it the text games view. All right, so we're going to, in this default, we're going to paste right in there. Now it's going to tell me, hey, there's some errors there. Yeah, obviously the platform metadata will not be relevant. Will not be relevant here. That's right. I could have like animated the sides out. I could have animated the whole text list to be fade out after a few seconds. You could do that. Lots of cool stuff that you can do there, right? Hey, let's do that. Let's do that here for this. Now, I say that, and I can already think of some problems, but that's okay. Let's clear up some of the issues that we have. Okay, we've got all these elements and we've got them everywhere, and we know that there's errors, but let's change them. So we're on a game. We're playing a game. Let's go to a game that I recognize. So there's two sections that I kind of want to focus on. The first one will be a game with a, let's just call it like a 4x3 view. Yeah, let's go to here, and then I will kind of want to see. Okay, there you go. Double Dragon. Double Dragon 3. When I was a kid, I used to play Double Dragon 3 all the time. All the time. So in this case, we don't want this fan art background. Instead, what we do want is maybe just fan art. Actually, let's do this. Let's do screenshot. In this case, I can do exactly what I kind of want to do. Gameplay screenshot. Don't want to have a fallback. I think so far so good. Okay, so this is a screenshot. However, then you can do this sort of trick where you can have the user-defined video. A couple things that I would like to see that we don't have right now is the video itself. We do not know how large the video is as far as theme development goes. So this is selected video. Let's just call it game video. So we have no idea. So we can't position that video to a particular location and then have it resize and then have it align. So this would have been a perfect scenario where I could have said, if it's a 4x3 video, have it aligned to the right. If it's a 16:9 video, fill the screen. Can't actually do that because it just has a static size. We can just create a static size for the video element, and then it just fills that space always align to the center. Unfortunately. Okay, so let's take a look. I'm putting it behind the screenshot. I'm making it full screen, which was a mistake because of what I just said. And then... okay. Well, now let's sort of position it. Wait, did I choose the right element? Do I not have a video? I chose the wrong one, didn't I? There we go. Oh, where's the... enable videos? There we go. Okay, there, we can actually see the video here. Okay, cool. Now we're gonna fill the screen. You can see that it's stretching the video right now, which, you know, as of last week, something you don't really want to see. So now you can see how it sort of functions and how it sort of stays in the middle here. We don't have the ability to align the video, even though you can see here that there is an alignment, and it aligns, tries to align everything inside of this box. It's not affecting the video, so that's normal. It's something that we don't have that ability to do right now. So if I wanted it to be full screen, I would have to do the math here, basically, like sit here and try my best. The best way to do that is you can hold control. Is it control? And you can make this box larger and smaller by moving the cursor keys. So here I'm clicking the cursor keys a little bit in, and it's very small movement each time. And I'm just gonna keep looking at the side here and seeing when the black bar goes away. Okay, I mean, it's getting there. Okay, so let's take a look. It's pretty good. I'd call that a win. So let's call that a win and leave it at that. So, and you can see that you're not going to be able to see it because the screenshot's going to be over it, but we can make it so that the screenshot fades away. So we can basically say, once selected, get rid of this thing at, let's say, 1.5 seconds. Take 5.5 seconds to fade this to nothing and do like a nice ease. Let's do a power ease, and we're easing in. I guess we're gonna have to do another one. So when, okay, there's a lot here, but during selection, right away, I want to bring it back within 2.5 seconds. Whatever opacity it was, doesn't care. Bring it back up to 100%. And again, a nice power ease where we ease out. Okay, so I believe that's okay. The last thing I want to do that I've never really talked about, and I feel like I still have to get somebody on back to somebody on the forums here, is that there's two ways that you can actually make any item appear, whether it be text or image. So, and that's what this is, update when. So we have once selected or during selection. Oh, and look at that, we've got a little tooltip. So once selected is metadata is updated once the platform or game selection has come to rest. So at this point, it will not update as you're changing the game, but it will wait to update this screenshot until you've rested at a selected game. So you stop selecting. Or you could do during selection. So what this says is the metadata is updated as you scroll through the list of platforms or games. So at this point, it's basically saying every time I move to another game, make this screenshot change to that game. Now it takes a lot more sort of power to do that a bit, but let's leave it on. That's a pretty cool effect. So every time you change, it's just going to update the screenshot, and then after 1.5 seconds of it staying on this game, this screenshot will fade out and you'll see the video below it. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So we're on Double Dragon. Look at that, it's faded out, but let's scroll up a couple games. And there you go. Let me scroll up to Donkey Kong 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see it's moving through the list. It's changing the screenshot. It rests at Donkey Kong 3. After 1.5 seconds, the screenshot fades out and you see the video below it. Works great with this system. Alright, let's fix up the remaining metadata that shouldn't belong here. This was going to include, this should not be the name of the platform. This should be instead game name, or the game. Nintendo shouldn't be the platform publisher. It should just be, let's use developer, game developer, which is obviously still Nintendo. The release year is basically good. Right, it's switched to the year of the game release. There's total games. This is completely not what we need. So instead, what do you guys think? What else do we want to see? I probably want to see the community rating. So I could use an image, which is I believe what I did last time. Instead, let's use text. Let's see what it looks like if I wanted to use text here. So I could change this to community or user rating. Oops, that's the wrong layer. Let's go down to here. So community or user rating, I believe the user has the option to choose which one comes first. I think that's a setting in LaunchBox. And so if you want to see the community rating and then fall back on the user rating, you could do that. So in this case, see, we want ratings, we want players, like max player type of thing, and game rating. So when you're saying rating, like ESRB rating, we want the game rating and we want the players. So right now we're doing the game rating. And in this case, we don't need one of these, so we can just delete this one. We can get rid of this condition, which doesn't work anyway. And we can basically say this is stars. We can say rating. Yeah, Nintendo doesn't have it, does it? So there would be a lot of... actually, we can solve that if we wanted to. You know what? Just so that I have something different, I'll put 3.4 stars. But then, of course, I would need the other one. But okay, let's make this simple. We want player count. So... I'm gonna need this guy. I'm gonna paste it here. Eight. We will make copies of all of this stuff so that we can have something else here on this layer. All right, so this one we're wanting, let's say, amount of players. And in this case, I am going to need 2. So there is a rating here called max players. So that one will say 2 players. I'll set up a visibility condition to say collapse this if, where's max players, value is 1. And then I'll have one that says player. Actually, you know what? Let's do this a different way, because I did this that way last time. Instead, let's get rid of this. And this one will just be the letter S. Let's see how that looks. That's fine. And because it's the letter S, I'm just going to put the text just in case. I can basically say I only want it to, so I want it to be I want it to be visible, but I want it to be collapsed if the max game players value is 1. So at this point, it will say players at all time, unless the max player is 1, and then it will just say 1 player. It'll make the S goes away. So there's 2 different ways that you can accomplish sort of the same sort of thing that you want there. Okay, what are we missing? ESRB, right. Let's think about this. Okay, I might end up ruining everything here, but I got an idea. I'm going to make a dock, and I'm going to put it inside of this stack. This dock will be basically the same size of this stack. I'm gonna put everything in here. Ooh, no, I'm not gonna put everything in there. No, I'm doing this backwards. Oh, wonderful. Okay, so let's move this back. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do this the hard way. Can we add if it's marked favorites? Yes, we can. And yeah, let me do that for you, because it's not, there's a bunch of different ways we can do that. Okay, I'll do this the easy way. So I can, which one is it? If I lock all of these elements, which means I won't be able to touch them. I hope this works. Okay, so I should only be able to touch this dock, which allows me to move it. Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, what was I thinking? I was thinking of adding ESRB. So we need to have ESRB there, right? So there's a couple ways we can do that. Let's now you're saying favorites, so we can do that too. Let's think about that. I know of a way that makes sense to me. I think. Yeah, we got this. We got this. Let's do one at a time. ESRB rating. What's great about ESRB is that I do have a bunch of images that I use that anyone can use from any one of my themes. I don't know if I've included them in most. So let's take a look if I have it in another theme. Actually, I have a few different kinds. Ooh, vision. Can't wait to get to that theme for you guys. Let me think about this. Did I include them in Banner Box? I probably did. I got everything in there. Rating. Alright, there you go. Just the basic rating. And so I can take this. In here, media. Okay, pasting it in here. Cool. This is the first bunch of images that I'm adding to this theme directly. It's kind of cool. Okay, so let's see if it noticed. So it did notice that I have something in there. So basically what I want to say is, okay, I want it to look at a metadata field. In this case, I want to look at the rating, the ESRB. And that says, okay, so it's going to take a text string of ESRB, like A. You can see in here the names of this, basically looking at the names, right? E-everyone. So when it is E-everyone, it will find it, match it up to a item within a folder. So that's why it says image folder. In this case, my ratings folder. And it's going to find something. In this case, it found, oh wow, okay, I forgot that these don't have backgrounds. That's right. Just noticing that now. Yeah, we'll see if that looks good in this theme. And so it basically, this game, Donkey Kong 3, in my metadata has something called not rated. Now, a lot of games might not have that, might just be blank. And so we have this fallback ability to say, okay, if there is no ESRB rating, I want you to use my not rated image in all instances. So no matter what, you'll get an image of some kind. Okay, and then the reason why I added that whole dock is because now I just sort of want to place it at the bottom of my dock. Come on, get it in there. Let's take it out. Where are we here? We're inside of the stack. Let's take it out again. And now we're in the dock. Okay. So far, so good. So this stack is saying that it's like really large. Oops. But in this case, I want the width to be auto-sized. I think that's okay to say that. And then I want the width to also be auto-sized here. What happens if I say that? Nothing. So let's make the height 150. Let's make the width 50. You can see it's still tiny. For some reason I thought this would work, but apparently not. That's okay. Gave it a shot. Let's see what happens if I do this. Okay, well, that was a waste. Let's bring it out. There it is. And we'll just place it right here. Bring it on top of everything so I can move it. Must have wrecked the size. Oh no, I know why. I had it forced to a particular size. There we go. Width and height. There we are. Something like that. So it just sort of appears over there. We can do something silly if we want. We can make it skewed in the exact same way as that. I don't know if that's better. There you go. Little silly, but it works. And now let's tackle favorites. So there's a bunch of different ways that I've done this over the years. I don't know if we can do it. Okay, so let's do it this one way. That's I did in one of my themes, and I feel like I can do it now. If I make a modification here. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just make an ellipse, which is a circle. And I'm going to make this exactly, I don't know, something like 20 by 20. Okay. How's that? This is like a little dot. Where did I put this? Here it is. And I'll make it like a cool color. This would be great for a radial. So on the outside, maybe I'll have it like a slightly darker gray. Didn't quite do much there. Okay, so that one's good. That one's good. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down. There we go. That's better. That's kind of silly. Let's bring it out. Okay, well, to be honest, let's make it a color. So let's make it like something like this, and then I'll make it a little brighter. Really don't like this, to be honest. Let's make it pink. Yeah, that's a good color, right? And where's that really nice shade of pink? There we go. And what I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna call it the favorite ellipse. And I'm going to create a new dock. I'll make this dock auto size everything inside of it. Put it right here. Put the platform name inside of it. Put the ellipse inside of that. Of course it didn't work. Oh, I thought I actually auto-sized this. There we go. That was odd. So I do want this to be a size. Did I say 25 or 20? I don't think this actually makes a difference. Let me think about that. So the dock itself, if I auto size the height, or if I make it, I do need a size, right? So 45. Okay. I see why. Makes sense. So this should be smaller. Nope. It's this. It's not quite showing up in the middle there. Oh, I see. I put margins and stuff on this thing. Yeah. Okay, let's get the margin away from this. There you go. And let's... Actually, I don't even think I need the margin there. I can add the margin down here. To the top, let's just minus the 10 that was needed. Okay. Okay, we're getting there. So let's make this exactly 20, because that's way too big. Get rid of these. And now for the actual logic. Oh, 20. And we'll separate this a bit, so good 20. That was way too much. 10. Basically, what I'm saying is a pink dot will appear if the game is favorited, and it won't appear if it's not. That's the idea here. So we can do that with the entire conditioning, visibility conditioning. We can say, I don't want it to appear at all, right? So it's collapsed. But make it visible. When favorite value is true. There you go. And that's one way you can do a favorite. You can also do a favorite if you're wanting it to do like actual images. You could create an image and you could have like an image that's more brighter than the other one or colored than the other one, so it looks grayed out if you want it to always be there. And then if the value is set to true, then it switches to a different image. There are different ways to do this. This is one of them. Anything else we should add, or are we're looking pretty good here? We've got the stuff over here, so we've got the actually I did not change this yet, did I? We've got what will become the game notes over here. We've got the game title, we've got the developer and the release year, the amount of players, the star rating. And now that I say that out loud, So this is star rating metadata, and this is actually the words star rating text. And now rating. There we go. And then we have the favorite little button. Now you could do this same sort of technique using all of the other things, broken, or what else do we have here? You can do this with almost all of these. Game source, game series. The goal here is that you have like one text item or one image item, and you have like a ton of different metadata that you can kind of investigate and discover. Look at that: region, play mode, genre, which we're missing here now that I'm saying it. Lots of different ones. Why is this not on? Let's find out why. Huh. There you go. All right, and then that's probably the last thing I'm missing here is genre. So if I'm wanting to, I can just add the genre to the bottom here, which would be fine. And so easily, let's take a look. I can take a dash. I can put it right here. And something that is a bit different than the current version of genre in, I'm not sure if Dave changed this, but the way that it is now is that he separated all the genre elements. So a game could have 1, 2, 3, 4 different genres, and he separated them into different genre metadata elements for us. Normally this is not done for us at all. So let me make a copy of this and I'll show you. Look at that. Can the text follow that angle? Yes, it can. And I actually did this in a theme recently. And I'll try it for you. Just so that you can see what it looks like. So you can see here that we have 4 different genres. Usually games only have maybe the first 1, 2, maybe a third one. So in this case, I'm only going to use the first one. And it should tell me if there's a genre associated with this, which clearly something's not right. As there doesn't appear to be a genre for this. That's really funny. I always thought there would at least be one genre. Okay, or am I missing something? Okay, let's find out if I'm missing something. Oh, I might be actually. So the dock is that wide. The stack needs to be bigger. No, I don't think it does actually. Does it? No, that's fine. The dock is also fine. The dock is also fine. And this dock is also fine. Okay, so let's take a look. Is my data just missing? My data is just missing. There you go. Perfect. Donkey Kong. It's an action game, 2 players, 3.8 star rating. Donkey Kong is the name. Nintendo is the publisher. Let's go down to something where it's a bit different. Dragon Warrior 3. Chunsoft, 1988, Dragon Warrior 3. It's a role-playing game, 1 player, 4.4 star rating. Okay, let's have some fun, Dan. Can this wheel... Okay, it can... I don't know if I can do it inside of this stack. I think that I can, right? Because all it is a skew, and I can do the exact same skew, which is -10. There you go. It looks not right. And of course it's being cut off because it's inside of a stack. But if I removed it from the stack, just as an idea, yeah, I could do something like this. Have it follow the alignment of that tilt. It would be that simple. You could have all of your items sort of slowly coming down the side here. And you could even compress this down even further if you wanted. All right, well that's a cool idea. Now notice there is an undo functionality here. So you can see here, if I press Ctrl Z, everything's now undone. All right, so far so good. Looks fine. One thing that I noticed, and something that I'll probably have to fix, is that our rectangle didn't come over this one. You could see here that there is an element that has a broken color conditioning, and Dave was kind enough to give me a giant error button here. And you can see here that none of my color conditioning formulas crossed over because it's using a metadata that does not exist in this view. So I can switch that, and I can just add them back. Let me do that quickly. Nintendo Entertainment System contains arcade, I think that was. This one was the Genesis. And is there another Genesis system? I don't remember. Sega Genesis. And then contains... Now, I don't remember this one. What did I do this one for? Wow, drawing a blank. I am just going to say this looks like a Game Boy. I know I didn't do it for Game Boy. Did I do it for another Sega? I probably did it for Sega CD. But that's funny, that kind of looks like it could be. And look at that, I could actually copy them and paste them now. Can I? Not yet. He's in the process of getting that to work. Alright. There you go, it made it red. Thinking about it, I'm pretty sure we are good. Yeah, no problem, Dan. Now let's go into a scenario that I know will not work already in this, and that is with a system like this. You are going to notice that the video will not be full screen. And that's simply because of the way that I have the video in the background. So let's take a look. And so what I'm going to do, and what you'll have to do in scenarios like this where you want the video to be sort of a different size, is I'll copy everything from here and I'm going to paste it into this Wii U platform specific view. And I'm going to have to edit this so that the background item is now full screen. And one little cool thing that I can do is I can take this whole thing let me think. I could probably do this a better way. Well, for now, what I'll do is okay, that's not coming up, so I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to take a grid and I'm going to make it the same size as this rectangle. Now I'm going to take these rectangles and I'm going to put them... Okay, I'm also going to... Oh yeah, so I already did that. Okay. Let me unlock the canvas, paste that one more time, see if it'll go where I want it to go. There it goes. Okay, cool. I'm gonna put that in here. I'm gonna put this in there. And then I'm gonna take this stack and I'm gonna place it inside this grid. And of course it did that. Look at that, you can place items inside of the grid and it will take on the properties of its skew. Right, I didn't actually want it to skew. Okay, so there we go. I'll just double check that this is still aligned in the middle. It is, it looks good. And that it's still, yeah, it's basically where I want it. And so now that I did that, I can take this whole grid, which is this entire, everything inside of this side, and I can animate it. So I can say, okay, after 2-3 seconds, so once selected, after 3 seconds, I want it to slowly move to the right from its current location to a new location. Okay, where's that location? There used to be a little button there that I'm sure will come back later, but I can just set it to 400. I hope that's right. And I want it to take maybe 1 second. Now we're going to power ease that stuff out. I want it to do the same thing, but I want it to come back, right? So during selection, I want you to come back. So please come back, but I want it to come back pretty quickly, right away, at 0 seconds. From its current location to the defined location. The defined location is the location I placed it on the canvas. So wherever it was to where I want it, to where it is by default. All right, let's take a look at what that looks like. At the same time, I want to do the same thing. So once selected, I want to add a second one. So let's see, 3 seconds, 1 second. So maybe at, maybe at 3.5 seconds, I want the opacity to sort of, from its current opacity, to dim down to about 40%, and also take a second to do that. I don't need that. And then I wanted to do the reverse. Oops, this one. So at 0 seconds, I want it to just come back to 100% and also come back pretty quickly. And that will allow us to at least see the video from behind. So let's take a look at what that would look like. It looks really, really bad right now. I pushed it the wrong direction. Although that kind of looks kind of cool, right? It's like right down the middle now. Maybe for a different design. That's really funny. Okay. let me fix what I just did. There we go. Don't want it to repeat. Did I accidentally click a repeat button? Okay. So once selected, I think I need to go minus, no, 400. I would need to go, the position would be 100 and, no, almost 1,000, wouldn't I? Let's move it to 1,300. I think that makes more sense. So I want to move out of view slowly. There we go. Something like that. And then we got the problem of like all of this. So let's, I guess, do the same thing. So this rectangle, solve this problem. I would want this width. Let's think about this. Yeah, I guess I'm fine with where it is. But what I'm not fine with is that I didn't put everything in a grid again. So let's take a look. I would need a new grid, not a stack. And I'm going to put it in the same place as that rectangle below, which should allow me to position everything kind of nicely. As I say that, it did not work. Although I should be able to align it in the center, shouldn't I? So you can see it aligns to the center based off of the element that it's inside of, so this grid, which is really good. I'll get this dock inside here and move that back to where I kind of want it. All right, let's take a look. Okay. Last but not least is the rectangle that I do need to add into here. I'm going to put it at the top and then bring it down. So you can see if I put it on the top, it now appears above everything. And if I drag it down here, I can kind of leave it here. Oh, okay. Didn't quite work. So let's do what I need it to do. I'm going to put it inside of this one, then I'll slowly bring it out to this one. Again. There we go. One more. Perfect. Now that I've wrecked the size, let's make it the same size as this. We want it 0. There we go. So it's positioned the exact same size as the grid that it's in. So now that I've solved that, I can take this grid and I can do the same sort of animation. Where I'm going to... Well, let's fade it out maybe just a tiny bit. Maybe that's all I really want to do. Oh, I'm doing this backwards, but once selected, I want it to come back. Oh no, I'm not doing this backwards. So after 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds, I want it to fade out. I want it to take about 1 second. And then we'll fade it out. And then we'll do the opposite. During selection, right away, after 2.25 seconds, bring it back to 100%. Okay, let's take a look. What do we got? I think I did that backwards, but I can fix that. Once selected, fade out a little bit. All right, now it should work. There you go. So you can kind of see everything. And let's say I were to scroll up to one of the games up there, like Mario Kart 8. So I'm going to have to click here. There we go. Shows the fan art, scrolls out, fades out, and I'm seeing that. So and now that I have this text list, I can basically apply this view that I did for Nintendo to all the systems that I have that I know have widescreen videos. So I'm just gonna simply copy, go to like Nintendo Wii as an example, paste that in there, and you can do that to any of your systems that are like that. Gives you a little bit of an idea of what is possible. And that's basically it. Yeah, so I don't really want to create this one. This was a mistake. So let me get rid of this. I can always come back and create that if I want to. And what were you saying, Kevin? Having an icon for the systems would be cool. That would be cool, wouldn't it? I always thought, is there a way to do that? There probably is, which is kind of crazy. I can think of a way that I could do it, although it would require that we have those icons first off, and then once we have those icons, I would just have to do a little bit of coding, and you can actually include them within the text list if we want, or just somewhere else on the screen. Okay, so the final verdict. Let's publish the theme and see what we got. Yep. Okay, oops. Go down to tilt. And look at that. It is working. Let's scroll down to a system I know has one of those colors. Oh, TurboGrafx 16 fades to orange. Go down to Nintendo Entertainment System, fades to red. That's working great. So all I would have to do is go through that visibility conditioning and just add it to all of them, all of the systems that I can think of, just through the hexadecimal colors. Sega Genesis also fades to red. Perfect. If I go into the system itself, it should show the screenshot, and then look, I'll let you guys listen a bit. And you can see here that in this Addams Family one, oh, look at that. See how I have it faded? I should probably not have that faded. Every time that I change, I can definitely change that. But you'll notice that if I scroll to the Batman, see how it has that star, but it also added that little pink dot to indicate that there's it's favorited. And hey Bowser, how you doing this week? They're coming in at the end, so I do have to clean that up and then make it so that the animation's gone. I could probably get rid of one of those layers, and then I would need to go back and just add all the different color conditionings so that, you know, the color changes depending on any platform combination that we can think of. Other than that, there you go. I will that basically concludes this week. Again, anybody have any questions? I'm always around. Contact me on the forums. My name there's Farron. You can contact me. You can that's probably the best way, or you can just leave a comment below in this video and I can respond to you. Oh, Dan, you've been drawing icons. Oh, that's so cool. You should show me one of them. I'm very interested. Other than that, I will be back next week where we'll do this all again, and I'll consolidate any questions that any of you guys might have with anything to do with the themes and the theme creator. You can say, let me fade this out and bring back my music. Anything to do with the theme creator, anything to do with theming, coding, LaunchBox. I will eventually delve into LaunchBox theming. There's not that much, and I'm fairly new myself, so we can basically learn together. Startup and shutdown themes. We could definitely do lots of cool stuff with that. We could do lots of cool stuff with pause themes. We only have maybe a handful right now, and definitely can do lots more. After this video, I will finish this theme, and then I will be releasing it probably tomorrow on the forums. And so that stay tuned to that. I'll link everything together with this video. I'll probably have a link to this theme. You can go to our community forums, and you'll see the theme there sometime tomorrow. And then at some point in the future, once this version of the community theme creator is out, I will release these project files, and then you'll be able to download them and play around as much as you want. Just go crazy. And so hopefully this gave you some inspiration, gave you some ideas, and then hopefully later give you some questions that you come back with next week. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you next Thursday. Hopefully, this will become a little bit of a tradition. All right, take care, everyone.